The future is bright, guys. So let's put on our rose-colored glasses and explain to the people why the future is bright for Jared McCain. Brought to you by Shady Rays. Go to shadyrays.com and use code PHLY at checkout for 35% off of polarized sunglasses, ladies and gentlemen. Big Jared McCain Day, everyone.
Big time Jared McCain Day, because with that, with the future being so bright for Jared McCain, Joel Embiid decided to drop a little nugget when he first got in there and started talking about him. And I actually thought he was joking around a little bit at first, because he is known to kid from time to time. But he revealed that Jared McCain has probably been the best player in camp through 3 days already. And again, that was a little bit surprising for me, but a pleasant surprise, because that's something that we certainly wanted to hear about a young guy, a young player that we have questions about as we get ready to start the preseason schedule.
Yes. So I agree with you, Devon. At first, it was like, or am I taking what Joel is saying here at face value? Or is he trying to pump up a rookie a little bit? Is he just trying to get the young guy going, right? Like give him a little shot of confidence. And I think there's certainly a bit of skepticism with Jared after Summer League, where it was up and down. And I'd say probably more down than up, quite frankly. But at the end of his presser, there was a follow-up about Jared McCain, and specifically was asked, are you excited to, kind of bring guys along like this? You've had success playing with guys who are good shooters, and it seems like Jared is a good fit along with that. So if you want the hype train to go completely off the rails, here we go. Here's what Joel said. I saw the same thing with Tyrese. At this point, he seems to be more in control, more pace to his game, but obviously both are great shooters, great personality, seems to always be smiling for no reason. So there you have it. Joel Embiid, quote, Jared McCain is literally Tyrese Maxey, end quote. But really, it's like, it's hard to get a read on any of this stuff, right? Because we are not in these practices quite yet, and we have to take them at their word. But we've said throughout the summer, I do think Jared McCain is in a great spot playing off of Joel Embiid, because the things that he's not good at quite yet don't matter as much when Joel's dominating the ball and operating in the middle of the floor. And the floor spacing, the knack for getting the loose balls, the rebounding. But yeah, so I think I would say I'm cautiously optimistic on Jared. I know we all talk to people out in Vegas who probably are deeper in the weeds on the scouting stuff, and not only watched him more than we did, but have some better connections with college teams and college scouts and whatnot. And all the feedback we got was ultra positive. So it's not entirely shocking that he would come out and, as the young guy especially, be motivated, want to show up to camp and be like, you guys can't take me for granted. I'm not here to go play in the G League. I'm not here to sit on the bench. I want to get on the floor. And so it seems like he's off to a good start, but we'll probably get a much better idea when the games start, because I would imagine as the young guy in the group, he's going to be logging a lot of preseason minutes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, look, and we just talked about how, Embiid, who knows whether or not he will play, in part because they are being super cautious, in part because I think you'll see a lot of the star players get an ample amount of rest throughout the course of the preseason as Devon jumps back in. We will see how long he is here this time. But like McCain, and look, it's great that Joe talked him up. I'm sure part of it is wanting to pick up a rookie. I'm sure part of it is, being supportive of a teammate. And part of it is he has probably had his moments where he looked good. The previous day, Nick Nurse talked about McCain's toughness and how the veterans were really going at him and that it wasn't always easy, but that McCain battled through it. And now you see Embiid talking up his shooting. So you're seeing a little bit of, the different ways he can contribute on the floor. But we will have an infinitely better gauge on how well Jared McCain is looking and how ready he is to contribute when they start playing basketball in a couple days, even if it is in the preseason. But regardless, it is, I think a good sign that Embiid is going out of his way to prop up his rookie.
Nice of you to rejoin us, by the way, Devon. Thanks for deciding to participate again.
I guess it was the coconut Wi-Fi that the guys were talking about yesterday. So
It must be, seriously.
I got to re-up, man. I got to re-up the coconut Wi-Fi.
But
But just missing out on what you guys were saying. But again, just going back to what Kyle and I said at the very top of thinking that he was kidding when he mentioned it, whether he was or was not, and pumping up a rookie overall. It is cool to hear because all the questions that we have had, and we still haven't seen anything from practice, any practice videos, any of that. Even when we get in there, basically his shooting drills are done. He's walking by us, getting ready to go into the treatment room and do a stretching and his post practice things that he needs to do. It is good to hear that though. And he mentioned how, sorry again if I'm repeating anything because of my coconut Wi-Fi, but he mentioned how same thing that he felt with Tyrese Maxey, where he tried to uplift him when he was younger, and being the fact that he didn't want to set any expectations on Jared McCain, but he has a chance. So just putting his name out there and letting everybody know that, number one, he recognizes, of course, that he's there, and playing with different shooters that he has in the past overall, just pointing out that the guy has a chance in this league. The questions will remain until we see him on the floor, playing in some significant minutes, knocking down those shots, taking advantage of those minutes. And Nick Nurse is simply calling his number one and giving him the opportunity to get out there and seeing if he is out there with Joel Embiid on the floor, Embiid trusting him and passing him the basketball and helping to walk a rookie through certain things out there on the floor without holding his hands, because you simply cannot in a live action NBA game. So it was good to hear it. I can't wait to hear Jared McCain's thoughts on what Joel had to say. But we already know, as far as the smiling things with Maxey and even with Jared McCain so far, us being in Summer League, even after poor shooting post game where we would be there with them, or even post a bad shooting performance in the Summer League game, that smile was always on his face. And he talked about it at that time, that that's just something that's him, that he tries to get through. Was it the meditation that he says he likes to do from time to time when he's by himself and he wants to just sit there and meditate? He has his ways of getting ready for games, and we'll see if all of that does in fact translate to the basketball floor when his number is called by Nick Nurse.
I did appreciate Joel when talking about McCain and Maxey. He was like, they're smiling all the time. What's the point of smiling if it's your default emotion? Smiling is supposed to indicate when you're having a good time or a good moment. If it's all your times, and it means nothing. I appreciated that from Joel.
Yeah, and look, I think to your point, Devon, about doing the meditation and things we've heard about, guys in the weight room with him at Duke raved about him, and just the consistent toughness, getting the loose balls. What you want to hear about a young player is that they're giving themselves every opportunity to be as good as they can be, right? You're not expecting a 19, 20, 21-year-old kid to come into the league and you're going to produce every night, right? Even the best of the best of the best come into the league, and it's a roller coaster, right? And a lot of guys will hit a rookie wall sometime in January, February. It's just so many games. They're not used to playing that much. They're not used to the constant road trips, all of that. And I think the good thing with Jared, from everything we hear, not just now, but over the course of his amateur career, is that he's a consistent guy. He shows up every day. He works every day. He tries his best to put himself in position to get a rebound, position to make a steal in a passing lane, setting teammates up, relocating as a shooter. And the process is good and the talent is there. And so if you just keep stacking up good days, if you just keep trusting that you're putting in the work and you're putting in the reps, and you trust that at the end of the day, that in a lot of cases is what wins out in the NBA, right? We've seen plenty of guys who are prototype size, have all the raw talent in the world, and just don't put themselves in positions to be successful, and they flame out of the league. This is a kid who I think for all intents and purposes, from everything we hear, will get the most out of his abilities, whatever that looks like. And so I am not surprised that he would have a strong open to camp, especially when you consider he's playing against 38-year-old Kyle Lowry, who I'm sure Kyle is, while he's an apex competitor, Kyle is not ratcheting it up on day 2 and 3 of training camp. I can't imagine. I would think he's slow playing it a little bit. So good for Jared coming in with his hard hat on, and he's mixing it up. That's what we love to hear.
We all silly like the mayor.